You're not going to want to miss this episode of the AI Show where we talk all about scaling your AI ML practice with ML Ops and Azure Machine Learning, part 2 of 3 with my good friend Setu. Make sure you tune in. Hello and welcome to this episode of the AI Show where we're talking all about scaling your AI ML practices with ML Ops and Azure Machine Learning, part 2 of 3. Setu, this isn't the first time you've been on the show. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. So I'm coming back almost after a year, after spending the last year improving and implementing the MLOps Accelerator with a lot of our customers. So happy to be here.
Fantastic. So Abe did mention a little bit about the accelerator. I was wondering, is this the same accelerator that we talked about last time?
Yes, I would say yes, it's the same accelerator, but it's very different from what we had presented last year. We had one example, and now it's populated with a lot of examples based on the feedback that we have gotten from the customers and what we have done. In fact, I have a whole value proposition slide to talk about it.
Oh, before we get to that, because I have it up ready. So Abe talked about the notion of people, process, and platform. Where does this all fit in?
So our MLOps Accelerator covers all of these aspects. For people, depending on which persona is working on the accelerator itself, I would have support for infrastructure projects or a MLOps engineer projects or a data science project. Depending on the personas, we can help them scale up as well. From a process perspective, we have standardized a lot of these things. So whether it's your single project or whether you have 50 projects, this project can adapt, or this accelerator can adapt to that. And from an practices perspective, because you're standardizing all of these things, this helps you with your overall governance part of it. So it addresses your processes as well.
So let's get into some of the value proposition, because that sounds cool. I love how you framed it. I thought we'd talk a little bit about some of the value props. You gave me a slide. Tell us what we're looking at here.
So we talked about speed, simplicity, standardization, in the previous or the work that we did last year as well. The items in blue is where I wanted to focus on, right? And a lot of these things get lost because, MLOps is so complicated and there is a lot of things that we want to do. So the first thing that, I just mentioned about scale, right? Whether it's your single project or whether you have 50 projects, you can scale this MLOps repository to support all of those things, which means that your processes, be it a single project, be it a computer vision project or a tabular project, this accelerator can adapt to all, right? And the way we do this is extensive use of templates. And these templates are not only from infrastructure perspective, but how you reuse the Azure Machine Learning CLI or SDK to build it in. And that's where we take great pride in doing that. And we have done this at a small scale with a couple of customers to large scale customers where they had multiple projects that they wanted to work on. And based on that, we now have support for Terraform, Bicep as a way to set up infrastructures. And from MLOps, we support Python, PyTorch for tabular. We can do CV, we can do NLP, and any combination of whether you want to do it via Python SDK, whether you want to do it with CLI, V1, V2, we support it all. So it's, in that sense, a pretty complete repository for us to get started with.
And that's really cool because, I mean, if you're spending a lot of time just trying to get started on a complex machine learning project, it feels like time wasted. It's awesome to be able to just have patterns to create things and then scale them if you need more.
Right, that's right. And the other feedback that we had gotten was people struggle in, tell me what MLOps is. How do I get started? So not only we do regular trainings internally, we have done this trainings externally as well. And we have, in the MLOps link, accelerator GitHub page, you will also find training workshops where you can run this for your own organizations. You can run this for figuring out how to set this up. And, we have been working around this for quite a bit. And it has tuned in. So again, if there is any feedback, any support, open an issue and we'll certainly take a look at it.
I mean, this is fantastic. Are customers benefiting from this right now? Can you give us some examples maybe without obviously divulging things that we shouldn't?
Sure. No, actually, we have a perfect case study that the customer was very happy about.
Oh, cool.
It's there on our customer webpage. It's a small organization. It's called Segis. They focus on agriculture. Again, a very important part of the domain. Doesn't matter which part of the world you come from. And they were happy that they used to take about a few months to get any project up and running together with their MLOps piece. And now they mentioned to us, it's like they get it done within days, right? And the amount of savings, and over 90% savings in operating cost and maintenance cost because of these accelerators. So we are seeing real monetary benefit that are coming out of it. And that's a small scale customer where they had a few data scientists working on it. We have another customer, Marks and Spencers, for those in the UK who would know about it.
Oh,
Yeah, fairly large customer. They were probably among our first ones to try it out, and they have multiples of projects working through this accelerator. So again, a small customer to a large customer, our accelerator supports it all.
that's awesome. And I brought up the page because I was like, I'm super curious. So I went to go look. And so I love these project goals that you have right here. Can you talk about them just a little bit? Like the goals of this for people that maybe want to know why you're doing this?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of times what happens is when you want to get things up and running, right? There are challenges with infrastructures. Oh, what all do you want to set up? How do you want to set it up? When you have these projects, machine learning projects done, right? Depending on whether I'm doing it or Scott will be doing it, their approaches will be different. And Seth, you probably know, right? What you do in tabular doesn't really scale for CV or doesn't really
No, it's
scale
not
for
even the
NLP.
same universe. Yeah.
So in a lot of these things, right, when you want to kind of determine these patterns, it's very, very hard to do it. And that's where the simplicity and the modularity comes into play. So what we have done is we have templatized the steps. So based on what you want to do, you pick the steps that you are interested in, and I give the data scientist a box to play in. So he has to define this pipeline YAML file, and as long as he does everything in the pipeline YAML file, he's all good, right? Everything of infrastructure, setting up computes, deploying this as an endpoint, be it a batch endpoint or an online endpoint, all of that gets taken care of by the steps that you want to put in place.
I love it. Simplicity, modularity. I mean, it sounds awesome. I feel like I want to see it in action, but that's not you. That's the next part. Can you give us a preview of what Scott may talk about?
So Scott is really going to show you what our accelerator is about, and he's going to do a demo on how to get it up and running and show you an example of working through that. And on the repository, we have a lot of examples. We have demos, we have videos, we have tutorials. So feel free to take a look at that as well.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait. I want to put up the link again one more time for the MLOps Solution Accelerator. Thank you so much for spending some time with us, my friend.
Thanks, Seth.
Awesome. We've been learning all about how to scale your AI ML practice with ML Ops and Azure Machine Learning. Part 2 of 3. Make sure you stay tuned for part 3, where we see a solution accelerator in action. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Take care.